Hey guys, Ken's 97 still 171. I had a commenter ask if I could go over the gauges on my International Pro Star here. So I'm going to just start on the left and go to the right. Here on the left here you got your lock, windows, power mirror controls. Here you got your water temp, oil pressure, tachometer, speedometer, volt gauge, fuel gauge, primary air tank, secondary air tank. You got your mirror heat, sleeper temperature, sleeper fan speed, engine brake, differential lock. It's the air dump for the suspension on the tractor. It's your power takeoff, and that's a part regeneration. I guess that I don't know what the situation is that you're supposed to use it. It's never worked for me. Every time I've ever pressed it, it sits there and blinks like that, and then nothing happens. So, it's your fan controls, temperature, vents, your brakes. You got a little 12-volt thing there. That's a new thing they just put in. They actually have a magnetic key that they put there. And this thing over here, which is not part of the truck, has little LEDs, red, green, and yellow. It's green on the left, yellow and red on the right. And what that does is it monitors, supposed to monitor acceleration and braking, and if you do too many panic stops, then the light starts blinking yellow, and then eventually starts blinking red, basically, and then they can download that data and know that you're driving erratically or whatever. I don't know. The lights have never come on for me, so I don't know if it's hooked up wrong or what, and I really don't care. It's a cigarette lighter that doesn't work. Fuse panels underneath there. And that's about it for the interior. Over there you got your power mirrors, power windows and power lock over there. There's a little thing up here for your, if I had a CB, you could put it there. And you get your lights on and off. There's a sleeper dome that turns the light on there. And then there's floor lights, which you can't see because they're red, but it turns on red lights over there. And then you got your dome light, which is just a light right over the head of you. On the steering wheel, you got headlight interrupt, cruise control set, coast, resume, excel. There's the cruise control on and off button. Marker light interrupt, so you can do that, and it blinks the trailer lights. Air horn, engine brake on and off, and then radio controls. And then your engine brake controls are right here for 1, 2, 3. This 1 being the least amount of braking, 2 and 3. So, air horn doesn't work. Line's busted at the thing. You got your emergency flashers. Down here you got that's your work light. Turns on the light behind the cab. Auto, I guess, turns your lights on automatically and stuff. And that's your lights on and off. And then your panel dim. And that's about it, guys. Get your stereo here. Standard CD. It does play MP3s. So anyway, I went over that. So that's it. I'm actually going to put the GoPro on my head and I'll do a little video as I'm driving down the road. See you guys. Bye. Hey guys, Ken's 97 still 171. Monday morning. Heading out. Figured I'd do a video. I just made one a second ago. I went over the dashes. Had a commenter asked me to show some of the dashboard on this International Pro Star. So I did that. I used my other camera to do that because it does a better job of up close crap. hopefully the GoPro is centered today. In the last video I made, the thing was on my head kind of crooked. Yeah, I think it's straight. I need to remount it onto the hat. Kind of on there slightly crooked. Never really affected the videos before, but it must have bicycle list. You guys probably be seeing the reports of that cruise ship that sank. Some crazy shit. I hadn't been following the news for a few days and happened to get on my phone and looked at the news and weather, and it's like, holy crap. I wonder when the last time a large passenger vessel sank. I know they've had some ferries and stuff, you know, overturned, but bad weather or whatever. But I wonder when the last time a large passenger ship hit a rock and then sank. Well, it sure has some similarities to the Titanic, doesn't it? Strike a solid object on the right-hand side, tear a hole in it, and I just want to try to figure out, how does a large passenger ship, I mean, you know, the watertight doors and all that stuff, I mean, unless the hull was all the way down the length of the ship, which I don't think it was, you know, how do you sink a 900-foot vessel? How do you sink a 900-foot vessel? I guess we'll find out eventually.
over from here. Oh my god, that water's cold. Just poured some water out of a jug that was all slushy ice. Filled up my cup with it. Took a drink of that. That was cold going down. Jeez. Farther down the interstate here where I'm a little more stable, guys, and not having to watch traffic so much, and then I'll start yapping a little bit. We had an interesting weekend, and trying to decide if I need to stop for fuel at almost 3/4 of a tank. Probably should. I got plenty to get up to Rochester and back, but I gotta go Rochester and then over to Anderson's and pick up some corn cob and then head back down. And anyway, had an interesting weekend. Friday I went up to Michigan City, Indiana. That's that place that's a real hard place to back in, and I made a video up there of me backing in. I actually made it for the company. I tried to do it kind of pretty, not professional necessarily, but it was very, I tried to keep my personality out of it and just sort of demonstrate how to do the backing in procedure. Apparently we've had quite a few of our drivers get up there and not be able to back up into there, and I mean, it is kind of hard, and I had somebody show me how to do it sort of the first time, and but you know, regardless, it's not really that hard. It takes time, and you got to go back to your CDL training, and you know, patience and small moves. Get out and look, and just, you know, and you can't see what you're doing there on the right, so you're, you know, it's just get out and look. Anyway, so I made a video up there. I may post part of that to YouTube, but I don't know. I'll have to see. I haven't decided. When I looked over it, I don't know whether it's really good enough to like offer it to my boss and say, hey, you know, would this help? Because what he's wanted me to do is to have one of our drivers go up with me the next time and watch me unload and watch me do it, which is fine. I can show off my backing up prowess. Yeah, right. That's me. King of backing up. Yeah. Not really. I mean, I do alright, but man, I have my days where I just don't get it right. So anyway, that was Friday, and I drove all the way up there. It's a 5-hour drive up, solid 5-hour drive up there. There was, to beginnings of bad weather, which we had on Friday. And so it took me 5:15 or 5.5 hours to get up there. I back up. It's totally snow covered. I actually got backed up in there pretty quickly. It really didn't take that long, mostly because I got a little bit lucky. Just got the first angle right, and then it was not too hard to do the rest of it. Get up there, start unloading, and I get about half the trailer unloaded, and it starts blowing out the top of the tank, which means the tank is full, which means I got to leave with half my load still in the trailer, and it's all in the end of the trailer. I usually start from the front and work my way back. That's just my habit. And so now I've got icy roads, no weight on the drive wheels, and 20,000 pounds of weight on the very end of the trailer. And I almost didn't get out of there because it's kind of a slight hill, and the trailer was hanging down off the edge of the hill, and the drive wheels are up on top of the hill with no weight on them. So I ended up getting out. It took me about 15 or 20 minutes to rock back and forth. Got it out. And, hit the brakes hard a couple of times when I found a dry spot of road, and shifted some of the product forward, and it was okay. Fortunately, I ended up getting home no problem. The roads were mostly dry. But it was annoying because I got half the load up there. It took 10 hours or 10.5 hours of driving. It made a really late night on Friday, and they didn't even need the damn product, which is just kind of annoying. I mean, I got paid the same amount regardless, but it's still just kind of annoying that somebody kind of screwed up my weekend a little bit, for no reason, because they were too freaking lazy to have somebody go up and check the level in the tank. They usually order once a month, and that's what they did. Well, except they were shut down for 2.5 weeks for the holidays. And just stupidity. Anyway, so I didn't get home till about 12 o'clock, 12:30. I parked the truck probably 12:15 or 12:30. By the time you finish your logs, your paperwork, and you get out of park the truck, get in your car, it was 12:45 or 1. I hadn't eaten anything, so I stopped and got food, transloaded my paperwork, went home, and time I got in bed, it was like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to meet my friend Tom up on the north side of the city so he could drive up to Detroit to go to the auto show. And that's what I was going to talk to you about, was the auto show. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. I thought I heard the camera beep. So that was fine. We went up there, and they were calling for light snow in Detroit, and you never know. Sometimes they say light snow and it's a blizzard, and sometimes they say snow and then there's nothing. So the plan was, I was going to take my wife's car. I've got a 96 Subaru with 213,000 on it. She's got a 2006 Subaru Legacy wagon, much better condition, obviously, and a little safer car. It's got all the airbags and shit, so if something would happen, you're a little safer. And my friend Tom, he's got a 2011 Subaru Impreza STI. But he's got all-season tires on it, but still, it's not spectacular in the snow. It's not bad, but it's not spectacular. So we had to try to figure out what the hell car we wanted to take. My Impreza, which goes best in the snow. My wife's car, which goes good in the snow, but it's a lot safer car. Or his car, which is also very safe, but not as good in the snow. And so we're just sort of rolling the dice. So anyway, the plan was for me to take my wife's car, because it's a little bit more comfortable, too. A little bigger, ride's a little softer. And, unlike this truck. Jesus Christ. So I drive over, I get out, and I go transfer all the crap out of my wife's car, and I look around the front of it, and it's sitting funny. The right front tire was flat, and I don't know why. So I was like, well, shit. So I hopped back in my car, drove up, met him, and he's like, well, let's take my car, because at least we're in a safer car, and they were only at that point calling for flurries. So it's a bit of a roll of the dice. So anyway, we took his car up, and it ended up being just fine. There was a little bit of snow here and there, but there was nothing to worry about. And I got to drive the STI for part of the way back, which doesn't suck. The car's awesome. Fast, it handles good, and if you would put actual all-season tires on it, or snow tires on it, it would actually be a freaking snowmobile too. What a great package. Mileage sucks though, and you got to run premium fuel. That sucks too. But so anyway, we went up to Detroit. I'm trying to figure all the things that we saw that were kind of interesting or unique. You know, it wasn't a disappointment for a show. There just wasn't anything really wow up there this year. Ferrari, I'm not really into the really expensive cars, but Ferrari, Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, Aston Martin, there's a fifth one, another expensive one. They didn't even go to the show. They were not even there. What was weird is Maybach, which is a Mercedes brand, Maybach was there, but I think next year Maybach's going out of business. They're going to close it, so that was kind of funny. I don't even know why they bothered to have it there. Honestly, the most excitement, you know, as far as if you just walk around and you see how many people are like looking at products and stuff. Hyundai had a ton of people looking around at their new stuff. They had a few new things. Kia has a fair amount of people looking at new things. The smart car, which the dealer in Cincinnati actually closed, the smart car was, people were looking around at them and stuff. I mean, it's certainly a unique product. I don't know how long they'll be around. Toyota's got a new one coming out called the IQ. It's a little bit longer than the smart car, but you can put 3 full-size adults in it, driver, passenger, and one other 6-foot adult behind the passenger side. And then there's room behind the driver's seat too, but it's you know, maybe you could put a kid back there or something. But hey, you know, 3 people's better than 2. It's a little more expensive than the base model smart car, but there again, it's Toyota reliability, and it's a pretty good looking car. It's pretty cute. Kind of looks like a Scion X. It's going to be sold under the Scion brand, so it'll be a Scion IQ. The other one that was kind of interesting is Scion. I don't know what it's called under the Scion brand. They had it there as a Scion, but I thought it was going to be a Toyota. There is a sports car coming out that is a joint effort between Subaru and Toyota. It's going to have a 2-liter Subaru boxer engine in it. I think making 200 horsepower, rear-wheel drive only. And it kind of looks like an older Supra. I mean, it's a sport coupe, fairly small, rear-wheel drive, making medium power. I think they're going to have a turbocharged model come out later that'll be making more power. But it's interesting that Subaru's going to sell it, and it's got a 3-letter name, you know, BGR or GVR or something like that. And the Toyota one, they look exactly the same except for some badging and some trim and the wheels. It's a really odd, seems like an odd thing to do, to have a Subaru and a Toyota come out that look exactly the same. But it allows them to share costs, and maybe the interiors will be completely different, or, you know, something like that. I don't know. But so that there were people looking at that, as a Scion display, and the Subaru display also. A lot of people at the Subaru area looking at stuff. And we went downstairs and looked at the electric car stuff, and they had a Volt, and they had a Leaf. We rode around in one of those last year, so we didn't bother. They had Nissan had a Leaf out you could sit in. It was kind of interesting. That's an all-electric car. Chevy had some stuff too. They had their really fast Camaro was there. The new Sonic, which replaces I think the Aveo, and another one called the Spark. I think actually the Spark replaces the Aveo, and the Sonic is a little more upscale. Both of those are really good looking. That and a new Grand Cherokee, of course. You guys know how much I like Jeeps, and honestly, I kind of like the WJ that I want, maybe a little better. I mean, the new Grand Cherokee is really nice, but it's bigger, and you know. I loaded the Overland model for the Jeep Grand Cherokee was $54,000. But the Overland model has like every option you can order. The only one more expensive is the SRT8 model, which is in its own, and it's under its own mark, actually. Chrysler had the new Dodge Dart, which I thought was pretty cool looking. Kind of looks like a miniature Charger, except the front end is more streamlined. It doesn't have that front flat grille. But the back of it kind of looks like a Charger. I think 3 different engines available for it. So they're going to try to make a sporty model, and they're going to have an economy model. Well, that makes sense for under the Dart name. That certainly makes sense. What else did they have? Sorry guys, I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. Like I said, it wasn't like a dramatic show. We just walked around and saw some things. I will say that, like I said, man, the area for Hyundai was hopping. Hyundai and Kia both were really hopping. And they did their displays very smartly. They got the car, you can sit in it, and in front, at the left front quarter, they've got a plaque with information about the car, and then next to it, they had a paper copy of a brochure, one single sheet, double-sided. It was like you could just tear it off. It was like a tear-off, or you could take it with you. That way, you could, and it had like the car that Hyundai has, and then it connects 2 competitors, you know, and it was like a little comparison on the back. And I just thought that was really smart. It was a simple brochure. You're looking at it, you just grab it, fold it up, put it in your pocket. Pretty much everything was nice. I mean, the Sonata was there. You know, even the Hyundai Accent, their bargain basement car is a lot nicer than you would think a bargain basement car would be. You know, I can remember when I was a teenager, you know, you had, you know, Toyota Tercels and Ford Escorts, and there were even still a few Pintos around, you know, Ford Pintos around when I was a kid. Bargain basement low-end cars, you know, had nothing in them. And today, that Hyundai Accent is loaded safety-wise for sure. It's got everything you can imagine safety-wise. And it just, you know, it's reasonably large. Yeah, I wouldn't feel bad about driving one. I'm sure it's not the most exciting car in the world, but that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a basic commuter car that gives you, you know, good mileage. I think it's 30 city, 40 highway. Anyway, I just, you know, even the bottom end stuff, the fit and finish it's one of the things we noticed. You know, we sat in a BMW 3 Series, and we noticed that the interior was just, I mean, it was nice, but the materials that they used, you know, and then you sit in like a Hyundai Sonata, and it's like the interior is like almost nicer. I think they've needed to do a facelift on the BMW, which I think they're doing soon. I'm sorry, I'm going to be a little all over the place here because I'm just going from thing to thing. Next year, the BMW 328 is going to have a, I don't remember the displacement. I think it's 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder, turbocharged, making more power than the current 6-cylinder does. In fact, it's making, I want to say 300 something. I mean, it's not much less than the previous 330. So, you know, I'm going to turn the camera off here when I get to the weigh station, and I'll start it again because I want to keep talking about the auto show for a little while. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, to the weigh station. Okay, so hold on. Alright guys, so where were we? So anyway, the Hyundais were, there were a lot of busy, there was a lot, oh, the BMW, that's where I was at. Yeah, BMW 4-cylinder turbocharged, 300 something horsepower. But anyway, you know, just we were surprised. The interiors on the Hyundais are fit and finish. Just, you know, it's good. Better than some of the Japanese, which is they've really come a long way. Go drive one is all I can say. But the one we happened to, we knew what Hyundais were going to be there, and we pretty much already seen everything. And then we came across one that was new. And apparently they redesigned the Azera, which was pretty much the last car they had that was still the old Hyundai. You know, it not the new fluidic looking design, and that was pretty much the only one left that hadn't been changed in a while, you know. And really pretty car, 3.3 liter V6, 293 horsepower, I think. Front wheel drive. The interior, I mean, my friend Tom, he got in it, and he's like, this is more comfortable than that Audi S4, which up to that point was the most comfortable car. He liked the seats and everything in the Audi S4. He almost bought an Audi S4 before he bought his Subaru STI, but he didn't want to spend the money. So, I mean, he's pretty familiar with the Audi S4, and he really likes the seating and the textures on the seat, and, you know, the way it feels. It's just really comfortable. And he got in that Azera, and he's like, this is as comfortable or more comfortable than that Audi S4. And he just couldn't get over the interior. I mean, it was really nice. the materials they used on the leather seats. I mean, it was a real soft, supple leather. And this is a production car. It's not a prototype. Big back seat, a lot of room. The seats fold down. Price is about 30 grand. You know, I mean, it was really nice, and I think it's very attractive looking. You can look it up. 2012. Make sure you look at the new one. 2012 Hyundai Azera. It's not out yet in the dealers, so. And we looked at the Equus, which is their really high-end car, supposed to compete with the large Mercedes, BMWs, and Lexus LS460. There's two models. I don't know. There's standard and then the ultimate, or I think it's premium and ultimate. I don't know. There's two models. The lower one has basically everything you could possibly want, and then the next one up has all of that stuff and some additional, just, I think, like the seat has a power reclining seat with, you know, like basically it's a lazy boy in the back seat. You know, it's almost a limousine. Well, you know, it's close to that. The thing about the Equus is whoever picked out the name, it's EQQUS. Whoever picked out the name, just, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. It's a reasonably attractive looking car, but you are just, it's like, I think the lower one is like $54,000, and I think the other one is like $60,000. But if you compare what's in it, feature to feature, I mean, for $54,000, you're getting everything that would cost you $80,000 in a BMW or a Mercedes. I mean, it really is that dramatic. It's like $54,000 versus $80,000 to $90,000 for the same kind of stuff in the car. I mean, I'm not into those kind of cars, so it doesn't really turn me on much. But you are getting a huge amount of value. The one place that it's a bit lacking is in this powertrain. It's got a 380 horsepower V8, but in a lot of the Mercedes and BMWs, at the 80 to 90,000 range, you know, you can get the 500 horsepower V12 model also. And Hyundai does not offer any other power. Man, I'm missing the gears today. Hyundai does not offer any other driveline. So, you know, if you wanted the $120,000 version of the big car in Mercedes with the V12 and the AMG package, you know, you're not going to get that at Hyundai. But if you're talking about the things inside the vehicle, they have everything, pretty much everything you could ever want. Massaging seats, heat, cold seats. I don't even know what the hell's in it. Just look it up, EQQUS, and the shit that's in it is just staggering. But like I said, that kind of stuff doesn't really turn me on. I'm not, you know, I think Hyundai built it just to prove they could build it. Their bread and butter luxury sedan is the Genesis, and it competes more with the mid-level Lexus, you know, Lexus GS, ES, you know, that kind of thing. Maybe BMW 3 Series, 5 Series, possibly. And Consumer Reports puts it at the Toyota Avalon, Acura, TL, Chrysler 300. It's more in that class, and it takes, the last couple of years in a row, it's taken Consumer Reports' pick for luxury cars. So, I mean, it's nice. Kia has a lot of interesting stuff. The new Rio 5-door hatch was really cool looking. It's basically a Hyundai accent, but it's a little sportier looking. It's a little sportier suspension. Again, you get a lot of value. $15,000, and you get a lot of stuff in the car. In fact, it's one thing with the Kia Rio. You do, I think, get more stuff. You get a better radio. It's a little sportier. It's got alloy wheels on it. It's a little more expensive than the Hyundai Accent, but I think value content is a little higher on the Kia side. Same engine, same fuel mileage, you know. Kia also, the new Optima is just really sexy. I've mentioned before in one of my videos, there's a red one that parks there at S&D that I just think it's one of the best looking cars. The exterior, it really looks good. On the interiors, I still think Hyundai does a little better job on the interiors. The Kias are a little darker. They use a lot of dark charcoal and black interiors, and I think the interiors still need to be worked on a little bit, but they're not bad. But the exterior, if you look at the sport model of that Kia Optima, man, it is just a really, I'm sorry, but it's a fucking sexy ass car. It was designed by, the guy who designed it used to work for Audi, so, you know, look for more cool stuff coming from Kia for that reason, design-wise. There was another one in Kia that was there. Sorry, popping my neck, guys. I'm missing one. I don't know. Don't really know. So, I mean, those two were impressive. You know, Honda had the CRZ was there, which is pretty cool, but I don't know, price-wise, you know. I mean, it's getting a little bit, I don't know, it's low 30s city, 37 highway, and get a Hyundai Accent, get 30 city, 40 highway, and it's not a fucking hybrid to have to worry about batteries or anything, you know, and it's making more horsepower. So I don't, you know, I mean, it's a cool little car. I like the car, but for the price they're asking for it, there are other things that get nearly the same mileage without hybrid technology crap. The Civic was there, and I'm sorry, but the last generation Civic was okay looking, you know. The new, I mean, and they made it more boring. I don't know. In fact, it's so boring. Next year, the Civic has been out 1 year, and they're gonna redesign it for next year. That's how much they found out they screwed up. But I will say on the Civic, I did like the interior. I like it's got a big central tachometer with the digital speedo overhead. I did like what they did with the interior. That was pretty nice. But exterior, it's ridiculously boring. I'm sure it's a fantastic car. I'm sure it'll run for 200,000 miles and be as reliable as any Honda ever has been. But, you know, for the same money, over in the Hyundai aisle, I can buy an Elantra that gets better mileage, looks sexy as hell, and has better equipment at a better price. Sorry, you know, and a better warranty. And don't tell me, well, Hyundais are garbage, it's going to break down. It's a crock of shit. Look at Consumer Reports. The Honda Civic got pulled from the recommended list last year with this past model. The one that just came out that they're now going to redesign. That one was pulled from the recommended list because they didn't like the suspension, they didn't like the interior fit and finish, and the Hyundai Elantra is on the recommended list. So, you know, I know Hyundais used to be garbage. Hyundai and Kia used to be garbage. But that was 7 years ago, guys, and the world has changed. Hyundai made a decision to change what they produced, and they did. And they're kicking ass. JD Power, initial quality, Consumer Reports, reliability ratings. Just look at any, you know, review magazine, and they're kicking ass. And Kia has been a little bit behind them, mostly because they didn't have anybody doing any kind of decent designing. Now that they've got Audi guy doing their exterior design, that attracts a lot of people, man. You know, if I was looking at a car, you look at the Kia Optima, and it just looks sporty and sexy. The Sonata looks really good too, but you know, you may want, if you're a little younger, maybe you want something a little sportier, you're probably going to get the Kia Optima. And again, it has a little bit more content inside for about the same money. and it's just stunning on the outside, I think. The Hyundais are a little classier looking, maybe a little softer, maybe for a little older person. I mean, they still look amazingly good, I think. I think the Hyundai Elantra is one of the best looking small cars out there, particularly in red. There's a few other colors that really shows the sculpted shape, just really shows it off. But who else was there? Fiat was there. We actually didn't look through the Fiat section because I've driven a Fiat 500 and that's the only car they sell right now. So we'd both already seen the Fiat 500, and so we didn't waste our time going through there. It was beginning to get crowded, and so we saved time. Quickly went through the domestics. Again, I talked about the Sonic and the Spark. The Dart is the Dodge thing. Looked at a Buick Regal. It's pretty nice. Nice looking, decent power. 260 horsepower or something like that. What else? We pretty much skipped through Ford just because it was getting really crowded at that point at the domestic section, and it was later in the afternoon. It's getting later in the afternoon, and you know, I mean, I can look at a Ford Fiesta or a Ford Focus at a lot if I want to, and I've seen the reviews, and I've looked at the interiors on them already, so I kind of knew about the car, so there wasn't really any point in looking at something I'd already looked at, or could look at. But the Ford Fiesta, Ford Focus, Ford's another domestic that's really popping it. Kia, Hyundai, Ford is really, the interiors are great, people really like the cars, they're selling well. Ford didn't take money from the government. Not bashing GM. GM's got some nice stuff too. Everyone is much improved. That's what we've noticed over the last several years. Everyone has vastly improved the product that they put out. I mean, compare a new Chevy Cruze interior. Those are pigs. Compare a new Chevy Cruze interior to a 1995, Chevy Cavalier. I mean, just dramatic. Even the Cobalt, which was pretty nice inside, is compared to the Cruze, it's just a different level. Chevy Malibu. New Chevy Malibu was there. We actually didn't get a chance to sit in that one. We wanted to, but there was a big line to sit in, and we were getting tired. So we figured, we can go to a Chevy dealer and look at that one later. So we would have sat in it if there'd been no line, because we were both interested in seeing it. It's all new for 2012. Oh, God. Oh. Fuck me. So we had a good time. I mean, it was always a good time. We left the show, and then we went to Slow's Barbecue, S-L-O-W. And if you're in Detroit and you want good barbecue, it is good barbecue. You really don't need any sauce, but they offer 4 or 5 different sauces. I like the apple and the sweet. I haven't tried, they have a mustard one and they have another one that's a spicy one. They use a dry rub on the barbecue, so you you really don't need anything on them. I thought it was pretty good. Their side dishes, the macaroni and cheese was good. It's authentic. It's shell pasta, not elbow macaroni. Eat it right away because they use real cheese. We made the mistake of waiting. We ate our ribs first. By the time we got to the macaroni and cheese, it had kind of solidified into hard, clumpy cheese. Waffle fries with cheese were pretty good. I didn't like the cheese so much. It tasted a little too much like Velveeta to me. The fries were very good. They were waffle fries, and they were good, and they were hot, and they were crispy and crunchy and yummy like waffle fries usually are. Last year we tried the sweet potato mash or something like that. And we thought it was a little too sweet, but you might like it. Baked beans I haven't tried. Definitely try the cane sugar colas. I don't remember the name, but they're in this bottle, about $2 a bottle. Really good. I tried the birch, a cream soda, and Tom tried the root beer and said it was really good. There's a new Hyundai Accent. No, it isn't. It's a Ford Focus. Sorry. Had me fooled. They look a lot alike. They're very swoopy looking, all of them. The headlights had me fooled when it was coming up on me. Yeah, Slows Barbecue. I tell you, the thing is, though, there's two places to go. You can go to the barbecue restaurant, and even at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, especially with the auto show, you're going to be sitting for an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to a seat, and there's no place to sit down. Don't do that, unless you really have to. Very nearby, it's called Slows to Go. You can Google Map it, or like if you go to Google Maps or Google Navigator, and go navigate to Slows to Go, it'll find it, and it'll show actually both of them in the list. It is Slows, T-O-G-O, but all the words are separated. So Slows to Go, and go there. It's in a really terrible part of town, but it's okay. It's actually not really terrible. It's just empty, a bunch of empty buildings. They bought it, I'm sure, because the land was cheap and the building was cheap. And it is a to-go only. You go in, it's very nice looking inside. You order your food, they cook it there. And then you get in a sack. You wait for it. They've got a bathroom. So you got to go to the bathroom while you're waiting. It takes 15 or 20 minutes to get your food usually. And then we just sit in the car and eat in the car. So maybe bring a towel with you so you don't mess up your interior, because you really don't want barbecue sauce on your interior of your car. And just eat in the car, dude. I mean, we used to go to a restaurant and sit down, and I mean, eating it in the car and to go, we saved 2 hours, basically. By the time you drive to the restaurant, wait in line, eat, then leave, it ends up being 2 hours, and then I get home 2 hours earlier. And you got 10 hours of driving on your hands, and so that's a good place to go. Another good restaurant there is called, it's either Louis or I believe it's Lou's, L-O-U''S, Pizza. That one is a sit-down restaurant. Really good pizza. Really good pizza. I would, unless you really want to try a lot of toppings, I would just get like a pepperoni. The crust is amazing. Get the deep dish. That's what they're known for. Amazing. We haven't been there in a couple of years. I think next year we're probably going to go back and try to do that again. Get tired of barbecue, you know. Sorry guys, I keep thinking I'm hearing my camera making noise. So we were going to drive up my friend's 96 Grand Cherokee up, and that was the plan. We were going to take the Jeep up. Hopefully it would snow and we'd get to try it out, but just wanted to try it out on a trip, you know. And unfortunately, the steering gearbox had the bearing in the bottom of it was a little bit loose. I really need the left lane. Now they repaved it, I think. Oh, they did right here. This used to be really bad right here. You repave that, and then you leave this. Why do you do that? You repave like 20 feet down there, and you don't fix the part that's 20 feet farther up the road. What the hell? It's not as bad as it used to be, though. That was a tire buster before they fixed it right there. But, yeah, the steering gearbox had some slop in it, and he got the steering box, and we could not get the pitman arm off the bottom of the steering box. Took the thing out completely, banged on it, used the torch, heated it, couldn't get the fucking pitman arm off. Bent the remover, the tool the clamp to pull it off, the puller. We bent the puller. So the only option was to order a new pitman arm for the new gearbox. And nobody had one. 30 bucks shipped, I think, but nobody had one retail. And the part didn't come in until Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning or something. We were already on the road, so unfortunately didn't get to take his Jeep, which I really would like to have. But oh, Acura. I'm sorry. Back to the auto show. Acura has a new one. I think it's called the ILF or IF. It's some three-letter acronym, which I hate that. Give a fucking car a name, you know, people. Think of the Acura Integra, the old Acura Integra, and then the RSX. It's about like that size. Still totally in concept. The body work is done. Looked pretty good. We started looking into the mirror windows. They were totally tinted. You could see the top of the steering wheel a little bit. And as we looked and looked and looked, tried using my flashlight, and you couldn't see in. It let our eyes adjust, staring inside, and we realized that there was no interior. It was like from here all the way to the back deck of the window was just cardboard. It was black. There was no seats. There was nothing. They had the top of a seat where a seat would be, and the top of what looked like a steering wheel sticking out of this flat thing. So it was totally fake. There was no interior at all, basically. But it certainly looked good. I always thought it was a mistake when Acura dropped the RSX. They didn't have a lower-end car. You know, if you want a Civic, but you want something a little nicer and a little more powerful, you could get the RSX, and then they dumped it. And I never really understood what the purpose of that was. But they did, and it looks like it'll be coming back. Oh, fuck. He's light, I'm heavy, but he can't go 65 and I can, so here we go, playing chase the musical lane. Come on, Miata, fucking pass me. There you go. Now I'm gaining on this guy, and come on, people, fucking pass. The fucking speed limit is 70. I'm going 60. He's getting off at that exit there anyway. So, I know I'm forgetting something at the auto show, but I don't know what it is. I'll just think about it for a little while and see if I can. See how the wiper squirters only squirt down low there, and it never gets up to the top of the windshield. Very poor design. By the way, somebody commented, I looked at the windshield squirters that are mounted to the arms. Somebody had commented a while back that you can get in there and you can adjust the nozzle around. You can't. It's a molded piece of plastic with no movable nozzles. I've actually thought about modifying that. I'll pull that off, put it in the storage bin so I can put it back to the way it was, and get some tubing and actually make something that works better than that. It's terrible. You can never get the washer fluid up to the top of the windshield. Ice starts to build up, or dirt, and it works its way down, and then it ices up on the wiper over there. It's really bad. Why they can't have a sprayer that sprays the whole windshield, I don't know. You know, cars have been doing that for freaking 20 years. I know I'm missing a fucking sports car or something over there. Oh, okay. Electric cars. The Tesla was there again. They didn't have a Tesla Roadster, I don't think, there though. They had the Tesla S, which is their four-door sedan. Which do an image Google search on Tesla S, as in Sam. Absolutely gorgeous sedan. I mean, they really have the design down. I believe it's got a 250-mile range on one charge. I don't know what they're going to sell it for though, because they've got they said they're going to sell one at $50,000, which sounds like a lot of money, but when you consider a Chevy Volt's $43,000, it's like, you know, not twice the size of a Volt, but it's a full size sedan. So think Chrysler 300, you know, maybe a little smaller than that, but it's a full-size luxury sedan. It's fast. There's no gauges. There's no switches. There's no buttons in the center console for heating and ventilation. They've got a touch screen that's like from here to here. It's like literally like 2 foot by 1 foot. The whole center stack is one giant touch screen, and all the buttons and switches and gauges are going to be touch buttons, but it's going to be a touch screen, and they can be configured so you can move the buttons around. How fucking cool is that? You can customize. I don't like the HVAC controls over here, I want them over here. I mean, really, how smart is that? I thought that was really cool. It looks a little weird because it's just one big flat pane, you know, in the middle of the window. It does look a little odd. When it's lit, when the car's on, it probably won't look odd, but I thought that was pretty cool. And then obviously in front of you, you have your speedo and tack and whatever, but there's no buttons here. It's all electronic touch controls with computer-controlled relays or whatever, which, by the way, in a lot of cars, the buttons and switches on your dash, they're computer-controlled relays anyway. They don't necessarily mechanically, when you turn the hot and the cold and the fan speed, well, the fan speed usually is actually a switch, but not always. So the touch thing probably makes it more reliable. The only place where I could see that being a problem would be in really cold environments. You know how liquid crystal displays, you know, can, but it's an electric car. It's going to be probably inside your garage, and even if it's not, it's going to be plugged into power while it's charging. I would be willing to bet that it maybe you could keep the interior warm. You know, it's a beautiful car. It's got good range, good performance, and they said they're going to sell a lower end model for $50 grand. I think it has less range is the difference, so less batteries in it. Gorgeous car. The last I had heard, you know, price was closer to $80. And I think the Tesla Roadster is $90-ish. But dude, you're getting, I mean, the Tesla Roadster, 250-mile range on one charge, all electric. 0 to 60 is like 4.5 seconds. Top speed of, I mean, it's basically, it's a Lotus Elise with a big electric motor in it. Instantaneous torque, so it's really fast off the line. I mean, it's an amazing car. You know, it's a lot of money, yes, but it is an amazing piece of engineering for a lot of money, which is fine, you know. And it's got a 250-mile range. So, if they can get into mass production, but that's why they want to get this four-door sedan out. If they can start to mass produce that, I think she said they're expecting to build 5,000 cars this year, and they want to up to, I think, 25,000 cars next year. So, as they ramp up production on the four-door sedan, they'll be able to offer the Roadster for less money. The Megabus is coming up and going to pass me here. Yeah, Tesla. Look up Tesla cars, man. They're amazing. just really good designers. Really good designers. The people that are there really are excellent at this design, engineering. It's really nice stuff. Hey, you get, good engineering and high technology costs money. It's that simple. I don't have 80 grand to drop on a car. I would never spend that much money on a car. But people do. People will. And, you can't get something for nothing. The high output, high range batteries are money. They cost money. They're expensive to produce. And when you're not building a large scale, cars cost less because of the scale of production. When you're only going to build a few hundred cars, they're hand built, it costs more money. It's just that simple. Another Ford Focus. Another good looking car. We went to Nissan and looked at the Maxima, a couple of things. I looked at the Nissan Versa. I know it's a very reliable car, but man, you get inside, you go sit inside a Nissan Versa, and then go sit inside a Hyundai Accent or Hyundai Elantra. You just, for like $15,000 in a Versa, and you just compare interiors. Although I will say you can get a Versa for like $9 grand. They do make a really low-end model, and Hyundai they used to make you used to be able to get like a $9,000 Kia Rio, manual transmission, no air, no radio, a fan, and a lighter. And I don't know that they're even going to offer that anymore. They're actually Hyundai and Kia are trying to get away from the image of bargain basement, so they may no longer offer that. You're closer to, I think 14 is about the minimum price on a Hyundai Accent, with a top end of about 16. The Elantra picks up at about 16, runs to about 18 nicely equipped. You can get an Elantra all the way up into the low 20s, which is just insane. The navigation and everything in it, but you can get one nicely equipped with all the stuff you'd want for like 18 loaded wheels, Bluetooth, everything in it, the high-end radio. But if you get leather with GP, with nav and all the other crap, I think you can get one for 22. Hyundai Sonata is about 18 base. You get a lot of stuff. No Bluetooth, I don't think. And the Elantra runs all the way up to about 27 or 28 with the turbocharged model. So they kind of incrementally go up price-wise and size-wise, Hyundai Veloster, which I've already, actually I've not driven one. It's got the Hyundai Accent driveline. Think old Honda CRX or new CRZ. It's sort of like that, two-door hatch, but the Veloster is a three-door. It's got two front doors and a third door on the right. So you can open the passenger side door, scoot your seat forward, and get a couple of people in the back. And it's particularly the one behind the passenger. There's quite a bit of room, and it's a sort of an urban, sporty runabout. It's got a 7-inch standard. It's got a 7-inch LCD panel, high-end radio, Bluetooth, and you talk to the car. Call my sister. Call and it's pretty high level of Bluetooth in the car. The thing that bothers me about the Veloster is, by the way, the Veloster and the Hyundai Accent both, Both weigh about 2,500 pounds. So making 138 horsepower, 2,500 pounds, 0 to 60s in the 8-second range, which for their bottom end basic car, not terrible. 8 seconds is, is acceptable. It's not going to be underpowered at that point. The Veloster is smaller, shorter wheelbase, about the same weight. It's going to handle better because of the dimensions of it. And they offer it in a six-speed manual transmission or a 6-speed dual clutch, which is pretty cool. The thing that disappointed me with the Veloster was when we saw it in Detroit last year, when it was still in prototype, not prototype, but pre-release form, it was not out yet. They had it listed as the price range of $16,000 to $18,000. And at $16,000 to $18,000, I was like, wow, this is really cool. All this shit for 16 grand. It's a little bit more than your average Hyundai Accent or whatever, but it's a sporty, cool, interesting car with a dual clutch. The thing came out, and it was more like 18 to 22,000, and I'm like, no. At 18,000 bucks, I'd get an Elantra. I mean, the car is a totally different kind of car, totally different. But, or I'd get a Hyundai Accent for 16. You're going to get the same drive line. You could get the manual transmission. You can't get the dual clutch in the Hyundai Accent. But I just, it was really weird. 16 to 18 seemed like a bargain when I sat in it. There's a coolness factor of that car that you pay a little more for, but I'm not going to pay that much for. 18 to 22, no. I mean, for 25, I can get a turbocharged Sonata that has almost everything in it you could want. And no, how do you justify $22,000 for a Veloster? I don't see it. I mean, it's a really cool car at 16 to 18. At 18 to 22, it's a really cool car that costs too much, I think. That's my opinion. At $18,000, I would get something else because I'd be getting more for my $18,000. I could buy a Sonata for $18,000 now. But I guess maybe if I was really younger and I really wanted that hip urban commuter, it's got a lot of technology in it. That's what they really wanted to do, was capture the young working person who does work in their car. I think it'll send and read text messages through the car. It links to your phone, and it does some really, really, really cool stuff. Even the base model, and that's who they're after is the young, young business worker, owner, company owner. I don't know, young marketing manager. I don't know. That's my impression. And maybe they would see 18 to 22 and think, wow, I would certainly pay for all of this neat stuff that's in this car. I don't know. Maybe I'm just totally wrong, but it is a really cool little car. Unique. The 3-door thing is kind of cool. I mean, it's not a new idea, but they executed it in a kind of a different way. So that was there. I know I'm kind of rambling, guys. I'm gonna get off at the Loves and get fuel. I'll probably stop the video. So that's always a good time. If you can get a chance to get up there, we'll check it, on the calendar to find out what date it is. It was this past Saturday, 16th, so it's the 14th. Now, yeah, 14th, it's January 14th, and I believe it's this week. It was this past weekend, and it's also next weekend. So get there early. You want to be in there at like 10:30, maybe 11, 10 to 11. You really better to get there at 10 because you can get through it before the crowds start to show up at about noon. At least you're through half the show without having to wait for every car to see in and sit in, and that gets old really quick. You got to wait 20 minutes to sit in every car. You know, your feet start to hurt, and it's a lot of walking. Probably take you 3 to 5 hours to go through the show. Probably 5 hours, really, if you've never been there, because you're going to look around and take a lot of time to go through things. You know, being that we've been there every year for the last, like, I don't know, 10 years, we kind of have a system, and it takes us less time. But I bet it would take you 5 hours, for at least 5 hours probably, to go through the show, if you've never been there before. I tell you, it's the Japanese imports that are playing catch up now. You know, new Camrys out. You know, I mean, they're I think Honda and Toyota have been kind of living on their reputations of reliability, and suddenly you know, the new kid on the block, the Koreans, show up, and at first they're making crap, so they don't really need to worry or do anything because, you know, they're building crap, and they can always sell on reliability. They can't do that anymore. I mean, anybody that opens up a Consumer Reports and looks down the recommended list is going to be like, oh, what's this Hyundai Elantra? They're going to go sit in it, and then they're going to go sit in a Honda Civic and be like, why the fuck would I buy this? You know, brand loyalty is great, but when you've got reputable magazines telling you, you know, hey, this is a great car and this is a better car or a better value, people pay attention to that. And suddenly, I think, you know, Honda and Toyota are having to kind of reinvent themselves. It's kind of weird because it's what happened to the domestics. You know, the domestics were, you know, back in the 70s, were building what they were building. The Japanese came in, at first started offering reliable but inexpensive, small, not very exciting cars, and that the reliability aspects and the fuel mileage, you know, in the 70s, kind of hit it all at the right time. People started buying the Japanese cars, and it moved that way, and the domestics became hurt by that. Now it's sort of happening the other way. The Japanese are kind of, you know, not doing a lot of updating, not be very too conservative in their designs, and, you know, the Koreans come from over in left field and sucker punch them, and you know, it's, you know, I'm sure in 5 years Honda, Toyota will have some new exciting. The Civic will look a lot better, and the Civic will look a lot better, but they haven't had to do a lot of work in coming up with new designs. They just had to make sure it was reliable, safe, and efficient. And, you know, those days are over. People want more. You want to come out of your house, look at your new car, and go, wow, I like that, and it makes you feel good, you know. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. I'm not gonna film any more today, I don't think, unless I maybe do something up at Anderson's while I'm getting loaded, but I'm probably gonna be out of storage here pretty quickly. You guys be careful out there and have a good day.